For the longest time, it felt like cybersecurity was just playing catch-up with science fiction. But that's not really true anymore. The reality of cyber defense today is science fiction. It's a digital battlefield that was imagined decades and decades ago.
That's right. I'm talking about the stuff William Gibson wrote about way back in 1984. This whole idea of active intelligent defense systems, what he called intrusion countermeasures electronics. Well, that's not fiction anymore. That's our Monday morning. And the absolute heart of this modern battlefield is a tool that's been through a crazy transformation, the SIEM. It's gone from this dusty old compliance box to the central nervous system for all of cyber defense.
So, to really get where we are now, you have to look back at where we came from. For more than 20 years, the SIEM was predictable. It was this big monolithic appliance, right? It just sat there humming away in a data center, mostly to spit out reports that would keep the auditors happy. It was a known quantity, maybe a little boring, but it was a solid part of the IT landscape.
And this timeline, this really shows you the exact moment everything broke. All of a sudden, there was this absolute explosion of data. We're talking endpoint detection, cloud logs, all the little traces from microservices, and the sheer volume just shattered the old way of doing things. This data tsunami was just way too big for the old hardware, and definitely too big for the old pricing models. The only way out? The cloud. But, as you can imagine, that created a whole new world of problems.
Yeah, because the order to move to the cloud sounds so simple, doesn't it? But for any security architect out there, you know it introduces two very powerful and very, very expensive new opponents: the cost of moving your data and the lag that comes with it.
It's actually kind of fascinating. There's this concept from physics that perfectly describes the main problem here: data gravity. The more data you have, the heavier it gets, digitally speaking, of course, and the harder and more expensive it becomes to move around. And this isn't just a tech problem anymore. It's a fundamental economic principle that is now dictating modern security architecture. And that gravity leads to this huge reversal in how things work. In the old on-premises world, the analysis came to the data. Your SIEM was in the same rack as your firewalls, easy. But in the cloud, the brain is somewhere else, and you have to physically ship all of that data to it. Every single gigabyte, every terabyte has to make a journey.
And the result of that journey? Well, it's led to something the Germans have a great word for: Abrechnungstrauma, which basically means billing trauma. Seriously, just imagine this. You get your cloud bill, and the fee for simply moving your security logs from one service to your SIEM, that egress fee, is $10,000. The very tool that's supposed to protect your stuff is now costing you a fortune just in shipping fees. That, my friends, is billing trauma, and it is wrecking budgets left and right.
So how in the world do you fight this? How do you escape this data gravity well? Well, in response to this exact problem, a brand new architectural layer is starting to pop up. Think of it as a smart strategic defense against these insane costs, and it sits right on the last mile of your data's journey. It's basically an intelligent traffic cop for all your security data. First, it ingests everything. But then, and here's the magic, before it sends anything anywhere, it makes smart decisions. Those supercritical, high-priority security alerts? Okay, they get a fast pass straight to the expensive SIEM for immediate analysis. But all those noisy, high-volume debug logs? Nope. They get routed over to cheap, long-term storage. It's really become an essential survival strategy for getting control back and avoiding those heart-stopping bills.
Now here's where things get tricky, because the term cloud SIEM is really misleading. It kind of hides this fundamental war that's happening between two totally different architectures. See, not all cloud SIEMs are created equal, not even close, and the difference between them is absolutely critical to understand.
This table really lays it all out. You've got two camps at war here. On one side, you have the true cloud-native platforms. These were born in the cloud, built from the ground up to be elastic and scalable. On the other side, you have what we call hosted legacy platforms. And these are basically the old on-premise applications that someone just picked up and dropped onto a cloud server. So yeah, they might be in the cloud, but they weren't born there, and they carry all the limitations and baggage of their original design.
So all of this brings us to the final and honestly the most important part. The choice you have to make today isn't just about picking a vendor with the flashiest dashboard. It's about committing your entire organization to a fundamental philosophy about its data. And there are really only two strategic paths you can go down. The first path is the integrated platform from the giants. You know, the Microsofts, the Palo Altos. The promise here is simplicity. One single pane of glass.
But the price you pay for that convenience is getting deeply locked into their ecosystem. The other path is the more open data lake approach. Think vendors like Elastic. This gives you way more flexibility and control. The catch? It's going to demand more engineering effort from your team to build and maintain it.
So what are the big takeaways from all this? If you walk away with anything, let it be these 3 things. First, ingestion is your bottleneck, always. Plan for that last mile. Second, you have to demand predictable costs. Push for pricing based on users or assets, not just raw data volume, because that's how you avoid bill shock. And finally, and I cannot stress this enough, process will beat product every single time. A SIEM, no matter how powerful, is just a very, very expensive hard drive if you don't have a skilled team to run it.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. The next time you're looking at a security platform, ask yourself this one question. Are you just buying a SIEM, or are you actually committing to a long-term data strategy? Because in today's cloud battlefield, the answer to that question is going to determine your security, your budget, and your freedom to innovate for years to come.